This is Pedro Cortez from Tomopop.com bringing you another video review. Now, I am a fan of Gainax, whether it involves giant robots, cute kindergartners, high schoolers in love. I love just about everything that they release. And that, of course, includes the very bombastic and, at times, incredibly offensive penny and stocking with garter belt. Of the many things I like, I really like the character design. I actually like how penny and stocking look, whether it's their normal designs or their angelic outfits. And what you're seeing right now are a pair of Sega prize figures with the ladies in their angelic outfits. Now, you have to understand something here. Now, we're dealing with prize figures. These aren't, full-scaled 7,000, 6,000 yen toys. We're talking about 1,200, 1,240 yen figures. So, I mean, these aren't going to be as detailed or as specific, and as you can tell from the packaging, they aren't as well packaged as, something that you're going to pay a little more for. But don't let that taint your opinion. Let's take them out and really get into the nitty-gritty so you can see why I had to order these when I saw them go up. Alright, so first up we have Panty, fresh out of the box. See, she is very large for a prize figure, especially for the price that I got her. Just for the sake of scale. We have my usual 3-inch Kermit. That's pretty big. She's about the size of your normal, almost a normal 1/8 figure, but, you paid a portion of the price. Unfortunately, because you paid a portion of the price, you are going to lose some quality. And from a distance, it looks really damn good, actually. I mean, if you give it a good old spin, you'll see, oh yeah, she's nice and sexy, doesn't look, there aren't, a lot of imperfections, but, like I said, you paid, the fraction of a cost of a bigger figure, so you're kind of not necessarily going to get a fraction of the quality, but it's definitely not going to be quite as good. So I'll zoom in a bit so you can see what I'm talking about. And I'm going to start off with the face, because faces are, for me, at least for me, very, very important when it comes to a figure. And the face is pretty good, but just the, it's kind of a plain expression. The eyes are pretty well done, but man, the hair, this is where some of the problems start to come in. Like, it's the color isn't, too fantastic. You notice some paint is a little wonky there. If you give it a spin. And it, there is some attention. I mean, you could see the mold lines, along here. And I mean, just in general, it's, more of the seam, little splotches. I mean, it's definitely cheaper than what you would normally get, and that's a little disappointing. But you said you get what you pay for. And let me scoot her down a little bit and scoot the camera down a little bit so you can see a little bit more. And I'm focusing on her chest, not just because I'm a pervert, though rest assured I am a perv. I just wanted to point out some little problems here with the paint. It's not too defined here on her armbands. Some of the paint goes over a little bit here as well on her, I guess that's what's like a necklace, the heart necklace, and the heart's a little lumpy. Really, you're probably focusing on the boobs, and I definitely don't blame you. Go here. I'm not going to give her the full spin because that goes back into the hair. I just showed you that, but, it's little things that bug me just a smidge. I mean, not enough to, regret this, this nice cheap purchase, but enough to make me go, ah, yes, I see why it's not so pricey. And scooting on down, we get to her abs. Really, you don't get this impression from the photos, but the PVC used, you can tell it's a little cheaper. It's not quite as it's a little bright and shiny for what's supposed to be replicating flesh, and on more expensive figures that do a better job of hiding the fact that it's fake. You move over here. You see, I mean, some of the detail. I mean, this is the example. I mean, these are some nice details with the way that the skirts are ruffled. But like I said, you're not forgetting how much you paid for it. And I'll see if I can get this on focus here. Yeah, we get her hands here and some of the rings. I mean, nice, but you can definitely see that not 100% attention was paid there. And we'll finish off Panty here with her feet, and I'm going to try to get both legs here, and this is sort of a problem. You can always kind of tell some of the quality or an indicator if you look at the toes, because I mean, you know, for a lot of time you're not really looking at the feet for the figure there. You know, you're looking at everything else. You're looking at the costume. You're looking at her breasts or her ass. You know, all things depending. But, you know, you really look at the feet to see the attention to detail, and really they get kind of lost. So unless she has some weird problems, medical or otherwise, and she shouldn't because she's an alien, you'll notice that she has some pretty regular looking feet here. I mean, it's pretty flat. It's like a hunk of plastic and it's cut out. So, you know, these are just little examples of, and little problems here with the straps of her sandals. But, you know, like I said, I paid 1,200 yen, 1,240 yen for her. I got what I paid for. I got, you know, a pretty nice looking figure, but obviously not the best thing in the world. Okay, with Panty taken care of, let's move on to her sister Stocking. And she is about the same size. I mean, height discrepancy based off the show, so I mean, I'll still drop old Kermit. You get an idea what's going on. You see, that's a good idea. But she's equally as large, but you know, she definitely has more hair to her, which is interesting, a little more mass to it. But unfortunately, the more hair kind of reveals some more of the problems like I mentioned earlier, and I'll zoom in and show you what I mean. Okay, and we're zoomed into the face, the beginning of the hair, and part of what makes Stocking interesting to look at is that her hair is two-toned, but unfortunately that also highlights some of the deficiencies here. You'll notice how the paint on her bangs is just a little bit off. I mean, not a little bit, it's, you know, it's pretty off. It's a little uneven. The mold extends a little further out than where the paint is. It's obvious that it, you know, kind of factory done. You also notice how, like, a little more with Stocking here, that how artificial the you know, the flesh tone is on her. I'll notice also like a nick on the side of her head. It's unfortunate. I wonder if that was done in shipping or if I just got kind of a messed up model. We move here, and I like even though it look a little wonky, I like the wings kind of sticking out in the middle of her hair. That's kind of silly. And there's some more issues with the hair, and I'll zoom into that when I move further down on Miss Stocking. And you'll notice with the boobs, I mean, they're kind of hard to miss, but you see some of the painting issues along the edge here. And back to home. Alright, let's move down a little bit. Moving on to the more of the skirt and dress part of it, or more like a corset, which has got, I mean, the colors I really like the design. Like, you know, it's not awful, but, you know, like I mentioned earlier, you know, price, get what you get for that. And it's not, there aren't so many problems along on this end of it. I mean, it still looks pretty nice. The skirt is appropriately fluffy, ruffled rather. And more of the problems get when you get more on her the back. The problems I mentioned earlier are prevalent here and here again, and they get when you get further down, they'll get a little more obvious also. Finally, with Stocking, I'm zooming in on her feet like I did with Panty previously, and you'll notice the same problem that I mentioned before. Clumps of plastic with little slits in them, not very detailed. However, you'll notice this more in the pictures, the stripes leading up to her legs are actually pretty nicely done, and she's got a nice set of panties underneath that skirt. And that's it for my review of the Sega price figures of Panty and Stocking. Now, like I mentioned earlier, it sounds like I'm being overly negative, and it's not that I'm being overly negative. You have to understand that, you know, for getting price figures for a good price, you know, that's fairly standard, but they're not that good looking. These are pretty good for what you got. Both of them, like I said, are 1,240 yen on Hobby Link Japan right now. And, I mean, you're getting these large figures that are pretty detailed. It's just, I want to temper expectations of people when they order them. Like, be sure that you understand that you're not getting a 7,000, 6,000 yen figure. You're getting something that's cheaper and, you know, not necessarily meant to appease the hardcore fan of the show. I mean, if you're a hardcore fan, you're probably looking at the Metamorphose, you know, Panty and Stocking, but though, like I said, those are 6,000 yen each. You know, together with shipping, I paid 50 bucks for these 2 figures, and I think that's a great deal. And you'll probably expect to pay something like that at a convention for the 2 of them, or like I said, if you order them right now on HLJ. So, I mean, if you're a fan of Panty and Stocking, or low in cash, or, you know, you don't want to wait for those nicer, bigger figures coming in the future, these will do you really, really well. And I don't think you'll regret your purchase.